Forgot the kiss at the end.
No, it's fine. Okay. You're doing well.
Yeah, give us a smile. Go 43 now. Close again. And action.
Welcome to episode 43. Enjoy.
Swingers, and welcome, episode 43, Macca's Old School. Today is Monday, the 1st of July. We are on location again, Swingers. We're at Chatswood Oval in the background. Today we're having another interesting discussion and story. It's over 20 years since this man was lured. I call it lured and murdered. Over 20 years now. On the 6th of June 2000, Mr. Graeme Adams. He was a former police officer, prosecutor, was very well known. He was a large man, 6'8". After he served with the police, they formed a company, Blue Falcon Agency. This is where the trouble began, Swingers. So we're standing here today. Just along here is basically where Graeme parked. He had a business meeting on the 6th of June 2000 involving three other gentlemen. Graeme, there was a lot of anxiety with his business at the moment. He had a business and was going into a second one. A few people were upset with the man, so they parked here at Chatswood and they went to an Italian restaurant. We've got Mr. John Killick, who's our regular, and we're going to pick it up with John shortly, but we'll just lay down the foundation. He's parked here. 6th of June again 2000, he's gone to a meeting which isn't far from us at an Italian restaurant. A lot of friction was involved. This is, like I said, 24 years ago, and he was lured to the restaurant. We're going to pick it up with John very shortly outside the restaurant, and from there we will go through the rest of the facts with you. There was some stuff involving the ICAC with Graeme, and it was very controversial at the time. There was some interesting stuff coming up. There was a lot of friction there, Swingers, and it turned out very tragic for him and his family. So we're going to pick it up shortly with John, which is a stone throw away. This is where he parked. He went to a business meeting on that night, Mr. Graeme Adams. So we'll pick it up with you shortly. I've got this funny little headset on. Yes, I think John's in position now, so we will take it up with John, just a stone throw. Yep, thanks mate. And we'll pick it up with John, and I'll come back into it a bit later on. Thank you. You ready, John?
Thanks, Macca.
Okay, mate. So we are going over to John now, which is outside the restaurant, where they had a business meeting and a meal, an Italian restaurant, and we'll head over there now and take it up from there, and I'll see you soon, Swingers. Thanks, John. Switching over to John now.
Yeah, thanks, Macca. I'm actually here now. I just wanted to show the audience across here. We're in Chatswood Oval, and over there, straight across, is where the restaurant was. And he was lured there to go there that night and to park his car across the road from the Oval. And the idea was to get him away. And he'd already expressed fears that there were a few people that he was frightened of, and that he felt he was being actually followed. So we can't really name who was at the restaurant with him, but we do know there were three people. They then took him back to the office and told him that they'd bring him back later to the car, and he was then shot in the back of the head. Now, we're talking about an ex-cop. This is a pretty serious thing to do, and why it happened. Now, there's always a motive, but this one, when you delve into it, there were so many motives you could just about pick them off the tree. There were so many motives, but the only reason that those motives came about was that when they killed him, they wrapped him up in chains, about 15 metres of chain, and with shackles, and dropped him in the Hawkesbury River. Now, that was on. I think it was the 6th of June, the 6th or 7th of June, when they actually did that. Now, later in July, about mid-July, a fisherman, you wouldn't believe it, was fishing and his line hooked up, and it was discovered, and they found out who it was. Now, once they found out who it was, then the investigations became pretty obvious, because Graeme used to belong to, and Macca will tell you about it. Macca actually knew Graeme, and he'll tell you about who he worked for. But the security company that he did work for, a guy called Wilkerson, also worked there. They had a bit of a fallout. The company went broke. There was an ex-cop and another guy he felt were following him. He didn't like them. He felt they'd actually ripped the company off, but it was going broke. And what he did, they formed another company called Excelsior, and he was a silent partner in Excelsior. And what happened is that this other guy, Wilkerson, tried to dissuade him and get him out of the contract they had for the Olympics, for the security for the Olympics, and it was a $1.6 million contract, quite lucrative. And Graeme wouldn't play, even though he's a silent partner. He wouldn't play, and this was the motive for the murder. As the police come up, they later found that Wilkerson had actually gone and bought the long chain in a store and used the credit card from the company. Now, you're talking about a guy that they just didn't think that the body would ever be found. It was planned to that extent that, look, we'll do this, he'll never be found, he'll disappear, and that's it. But once they found the body, it was quite obvious who did it. I think I'll put you over to Macca. I just see him coming over here now, and he can tell you a bit more about it, because he actually knew Adams. But this is a fascinating story and shows you that just what can happen in business deals. When business deals do go wrong, people can get nasty and finish up killing you. And this is one example where that did happen. Hi,
G'day,
Macca.
John. How are you, mate? I've just come over.
Good
How
to
you
see you.
going? Where are we up to with this, mate?
Well, I just explained
It's
that.
an interesting one, isn't it?
Well, when they found the body, accidentally, the guy in the fishing,
Yeah.
the line got tangled up. Once they found that, they traced the chain, because he bought it with a credit card from the company.
From the hardware or Bunnings
Now,
or Bunnings.
and then they found a lot of motives. Another motive was that this contract, Graeme wouldn't let him have it.
Yep.
And so it had to be shared. It was a 1.6 million, and it was agreed. Really, I think it was the bottom line.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, there was a lot of conflicting stuff involved with it, and he had quite a few fallouts. Mr. Murray. He had a fallout with who was a copper. He was still a policeman. He had a big fallout with him.
Well, he thought that Murray and a guy called King were actually ripping the company off. That's the first company. What was the name of the first company? The
first company was Blue Falcon Agency.
Blue Falcon,
and I did know Graeme, and I actually did work a few times for him at the Longueville Hotel and a few other venues, ARIA Awards and stuff, but I was more like a fill-in. But
you were never offered to come to the office of the night?
Look, I think I went... No, thank God I wasn't offered to go there, but I think I did go to the office once, and I may have met... This is a long time ago, so I may have met a few people.
He was 6'8".
That's the thing as well. That's another good point, John. He was 6'8". So to weigh a man's body down at 6'8", with chains, it was 30 plus kilo of chains, is no easy feat. This whole murder, and a terrible story, it's terrible for the family too, mate. But this whole thing is, it's just shocking. But you can't, a 6'8" guy, as you pointed out earlier, and we started, where the car was parked, go to the restaurant. Wilkinson and two others were at the restaurant, so it was four of them. After that, they said, he went to go to his car, and they said, leave it, don't worry about it. We'll drop you back later, which for obvious reasons, was to say that, well, there's his car.
But they shot him in the back of the head, right?
Shot him at the back of the head at point blank, 6'8", in an office. how will you clean up and do all this? And I know it sounds horrible, Swingers. It's condolences to the family.
Yeah.
But how you do all this on your own is pretty impossible.
But this is the mystery of the psyche of human beings, because you look at it. His accountant said he was living in fear.
Yep.
He was getting followed. He felt that he was getting followed.
Yep.
He knew that Murray and King hated his guts.
Yep.
Right. Now, we don't know that they were the ones at the meeting. We can't say they were the ones at the meeting. Who at the meeting?
We don't know.
No,
yeah, I'm not going to point names there.
No,
but
they were never convicted. But Murray was later, or actually he didn't go to jail. He got community service.
Yes.
For criminal offences. So it shows the guy wasn't straight.
They said that he couldn't actually clarify where he was on that evening. There was a lot of suspicion there. And he had, and also Graeme had a 51% in XL security. So there was that much between Blue Falcon and he was transferring over
Graeme
to
had
XL.
the controlling interest.
That's right.
51 to 49.
That's right.
So he had control of the Olympic contract, which was worth the 1.6 million.
So Murray and King thought that basically he was the snitch. I think you mentioned earlier some database information as well.
Well, Graeme admitted to having virtually, he laughed about it, secretly took the...
said he was tricked him or something.
He trickily took the database of the security guards for the Olympic project.
Which is used, I think it was over 1 million,
1.6.
But it's a lot of money involved.
But what gets me is why he ever went to the car, why he ever went with them to the office when he was scared.
But obviously still trusting, John, that he thought, I should be,
But an ex-cop, you think, would know,
Yeah, I know. The whole thing was very...
and having done the wrong thing himself a few times. Anyway, that's what happened. And it just shows, when they say truth, stranger than fiction, I mean, what are the odds? It was meant to be. It had to be fate that fisherman actually, his line got tangled up with the body. And the body was found about 6 weeks later.
That's right. The 12th of July, he was pulled up just off Dangor Island on the Hawkesbury River.
Yeah.
So, it's a very sad state of affairs. I went to Graeme's funeral as well, and it was packed at the northern suburbs, Graeme. Yeah, it was packed.
Yeah.
But a very sad state of affairs, Swingers. So, from here, John, restaurant over here, basically where TK Maccas is, over there on the corner.
Yeah.
Was an Italian and
pizza place, wasn't it?
Pizza place, yep.
But we should point out too that Wilkerson did go to trial and was found guilty, and he did 15 years non-parole. I don't know what the head sentence was. But
15 minimum. I'm not sure whether he got 20 or 23 or something with the 15 minimum. So I believe he went to Goulburn, the Supermax at Goulburn.
Well, that was about the average sentence for murder in those days. So they did nail him on it, but the thing is, there was no manslaughter. It was a straight-out murder, and
it was straight-out murder. Yeah, mate. I mean, the luring to the office. At the time, look, as I was told too, John, apparently he was kept talking and kept occupied.
That's how they got him.
It came up within an inch of the back of his head and straight through his head, mate, which would have been a hell of a.
Well, you'd have been shocked. You'd have been shocked.
I was very shocked. Yeah, I was still in Sydney working at the time, and I was about 33, I guess, at the time. So I was very shocked. It's a sad state of affairs, and they were a very close family. Graeme was a good guy, but he also,
Well, most people don't know about
me and everyone, he wasn't perfect.
Well, I didn't know about this, and you know what? It's good that we're able to bring these sort of cases out that don't get any publicity and bring them out, make people aware of these things and how the law operates. Because there were two people. They're pretty sure the two people that actually got away were at least being accomplices to murder.
Oh,
there's no doubt
absolutely.
about that.
There was some suspicious circumstances, but no one could be nailed on anything. In particular, But
what nailed him was buying the chain. Plus,
people do stuff like this.
well, people
you've got
too.
CCTV everywhere as well, and
well, they did testify there was animosity between.
Huge.
There was animosity between. His accountant testified to that.
His accountant, apparently, he had a chat to his accountant and said he was most concerned. There was quite a few people annoyed with Graeme at the time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't justify what actually happened to the man, which was, and it was premeditated, John. It was well thought.
Well, that's what I mean.
It was thought
There's
through.
no way you get manslaughter on that.
Yeah. No, it was definitely thought through, particularly with the leaving of the car here, and taking as well. So it looks like when the investigation started and he disappeared on June 6th, there's the car. So this is where he last was. That was the impression they wanted to give.
Isn't it funny what some ex-cops get up to?
Unbelievable. Yeah.
But a lot of them go into security.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they're not as smart as you would like them to be.
Well, buying that chain,
I
mean, you would have paid cash for it, wouldn't you?
Not as smart. Exactly. Yeah. But still, you're all over the joint with CCTV, and I mean, you're leaving yourself
not so much
wide open. True. But 2000, they still had.
We're talking 24 years ago.
Yeah.
We didn't have all that security cameras that we got now. You had some, but you didn't have what like got now.
Yeah.
Now, if you step outside your door now, and they don't do it. They don't backtrack. But if they want to backtrack, if suddenly you become a suspect, then they can backtrack every move you make, even to the extent of what train you got on, what tunnel you drove through in your car. They can know you. They can tell you where you were. So many cameras. Your photo's probably taken, bloody, thousands of times a day. If you
this morning already. Yeah.
And we're probably on camera right now, actually.
Well, this is it. But this is another story we wanted to talk about today because, wasn't it, John? Because not many people would know about this.
They don't.
Like the McGregor girls.
I didn't know about.
Would know.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
And it's strange.
24 years ago.
And you knew the McGregor girls too, and that was we did the podcast on that.
We did.
And
but this is why we're trying to also throw in some well-known names, but also some stories that aren't well-known.
Well, people have said to me, they've actually messaged me and said, look, you guys, it's really good you're doing stories that we don't know a lot about because everybody knows, and we did do land francing, everybody knows
we
that.
We did,
But there's stories we've done that people don't know about, and I think we should keep doing that too because...
Absolutely. And this is why we're doing another one today with this poor fella.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, condolences to his family, mate.
Yeah.
They were a very tight family.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend, Graham's girlfriend at the time, I believe her name was Janelle, and I briefly met her after his funeral, and she seemed like a lovely girl. But she had concerns as well that he was worried about people, and they were in financial trouble as well. They owed about 150k with Blue Falcon.
Yeah, that's right. They lost
went
money
right over the top. Yeah,
and he thought that Murren and King were responsible. They were siphoning money out of the company.
And again, they were filthy on him.
He had no
they
proof
thought he was a snitch, a rat, and they were really filthy on him as well.
Yeah, but he had no proof. I mean, in there, we can't say that they were doing it, but that's what he told everybody. That he felt that company went bankrupt, and he felt that was why.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as well, you said earlier as well, this all intertwines swingers with the contract for the Olympics, which you stated was 1.6 million. It was a lot of money. They had scored the Olympics contract.
Oh, absolutely. And it would have went from there. It would have went bigger from there too.
Yep. With the Blue Falcon, and then branching off to Excel Security, the whole thing, and it just upset a lot of people.
He was killed over greed, really, because the guy wanted the whole contract for himself, and he's killed his partner.
Greed and saying the wrong thing, and I think as well, swingers, that it were playing two sides, mate. He was playing both coins, I think. And I mean this totally, I mean this respectful to Graeme, but it's the truth. There was a lot of stuff going on there, a lot of dodgy stuff. There was some ICAC involvement as well.
Well, that's Wilson come undone over ICAC. And he was found guilty of criminal. But he didn't go to jail. Burner, who he was. They said, well, he got a community thing.
There was. There was some. There was whereabouts of one or two people that couldn't be confirmed, but there was no evidence. No. So we're not accusing anyone. But everything we talk about is public record anyway. But Yeah, look, Swingers, not a long one today, John, but we just wanted to bring this out in the open about Graeme and we've got lots of stories like this. People don't know.
I think we should thank the viewers that there's been a great lift in subscribers, and we're trying to get to 1,000. And,
there has. Thanks heaps.
And if you could subscribe if you haven't subscribed already.
Yep.
Because once we get to 2,000, things will be a bit better for you, won't they? Yeah.
Oh, definitely. We've got other stuff coming up too with a perspective on the other side of the law. We have an ex-police officer who I believe we're going to talk to next, who would also be our third female guest. It's our third lady on the show.
Right.
And hopefully she'll be coming up very soon. She was in Bali at the moment.
They all want to go to Bali.
They all want to go to Bali. But she was an ex-police officer, and there's something really interesting. We'll leave that, we'll talk about that more, but something very interesting why she left the coppers that I'm very impressed with, mate.
I do know the story.
Well,
she's got just a whole book of stories to be able to relate to. So that'll be a longer one, I'd expect, than this one.
I think so. We'll have a sit down in a warmer place. It's fucking freezing out here today.
Well, it is. It's very cold here. We're in Chatswood Park, Chatswood Oval, and it's quite cold.
It is.
But
here we are anyway. We're at the location where poor Graeme had his last meal, and that's why I said lured and murdered, because he was lured. He was lured, mate.
Yeah, he was lured. And to me, surprisingly, that being an ex-cop, knowing that things weren't going too good, and going back, you've got your car there.
Yeah.
Why would you go back to the office?
Yeah. For further meeting or what have you. And no worries, mate. We'll drop you back here later on.
Probably had a few drinks, probably.
Probably had a few drinks. We'll drop you to your car. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I mean, all part of the plan. And we said earlier, where was the car found? Right here, across from this oval.
Never came back.
Never came back. No. So therefore, throwing it off, like, he must have disappeared from Chatswood, which wasn't the case.
But really, when you think about it, the odds were he was never going to be found.
No.
And that's what they were counting on.
Yep.
That's what they were counting on. So they threw all their eggs in one basket there, because once he was found...
must have been some help, John, involved. 6'8". He was a big man.
No man could have carried him with all that chains wrapped around him. Even if you put the chains on him and somehow got him into the boat.
There must have been some help.
Of course there was help.
Mr. Wilkinson was convicted and served his 15 years, which I understand was at Goulburn. So,
was it?
Yeah, the Supermax at Goulburn. Right. He's out now, he's free, and it's just a tragic circumstance, but another one we wanted to a different one, and we wanted to make people aware of this, aware of his life.
And I think that's great that we've been able to put this on a podcast, because I don't know any other podcasts that have been done about this, and I just think it's good that we could get it out there.
Yeah. We want to focus on
particularly
on well-known people like yourself. He's a good man. But we also do want to do stories that people don't know about, and sort of, acknowledge their lives and their families as well, John.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we've done a few of those, and we'll continue to do them.
Yeah. And our commiserations all these years later to his family. They were very close family, I believe. And Mr. Graeme Adams, lured and murdered.
Yeah.
And that was episode 43 for today. John, anything you want to finish on, mate, or throw in there?
Well, I would just like to say that nearly every murder, there's always a motive, and that's the police have always, for hundreds of years, haven't they, looked for the motive. Once they find a motive, they'll usually get the person who did it.
Yeah, it's like the dominoes, isn't it? It'll all start going into...
But the motive wouldn't have helped there. If they'd never found the body, I don't think he would have been convicted. So I think it was fate. I really do think it was fate.
That's what they were counting on, not finding the body.
Yeah.
And I believe it was a trawler, a fisherman or something that brought it up.
Fate solved this one. There's been a few cases like that where fate stepped in and brought the murders undone.
Yep.
And this is one of those, I think. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. As I said, Swingers a short one today, but we just wanted to get this story out. And it's one of many to come of popular things and quiet things. We want to try and do a whole mix of stuff, don't we, John?
Absolutely. And look, anyway, thanks for viewing, and appreciate it. Yep. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, please like and subscribe. Thank you.
Please, swingers, and thanks very much. 815 and counting. So we're finally getting there. We're really, really grateful to you all. Thanks very much. We're freezing here from Chatswood Oval.
We might go and have some lunch.
I think so. Monday, the 1st of July. That was episode 43. Thanks very much, swingers. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hey swingers, my name's Hunter. Please help this channel out and just like and subscribe. It's free and it's easy as this. Thanks.